Welcome back everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content. Today we are going to discuss the 4 dimensions of service management. The objective of an organization is to create value for its stakeholders, and this is achieved through the provision and consumption of services. The ways in which the various components and activities of an organization work together to create this value is described by the ITIL. SVS, Service Value System. However, before we explore further, the 4 dimensions of service management must be introduced. These dimensions are relevant to, and impact upon, all elements of the service value system. To support a holistic approach to service management, ITIL defines 4 dimensions that collectively are critical to the effective and efficient facilitation of value for customers and other stakeholders in the form of products and services. These are organizations and people, information and technology, partners and suppliers, value streams and processes. These 4 dimensions represent perspectives which are relevant to the whole SVS, service value system, including the entirety of the service value chain and all ITIL practices. The 4 dimensions are constrained or influenced by several external factors that are often beyond the control of the SVS. Failing to address all 4 dimensions properly may result in services becoming undeliverable or not meeting expectations of quality or efficiency. For example, failing to consider the value streams and processes dimension holistically can lead to wasteful work, duplication of efforts, or worse, work that conflicts with what is being done elsewhere in the organization. Equally, ignoring the partners and suppliers dimension could mean that outsourced services are misaligned with the needs of the organization. The 4 dimensions do not have sharp boundaries and may overlap. They will sometimes interact in unpredictable ways, depending on the level of complexity and uncertainty in which an organization operates. It is important to note that the 4 dimensions of service management apply to all services being managed, as well as to the service value system in general. It is therefore essential that these perspectives should be considered for every service, and that each one should be addressed when managing and improving the SVS at all levels. Let's review the 4 dimensions one by one. The first dimension of service management is organizations and people. The effectiveness of an organization cannot be assured by a formally established structure or system of authority alone. The organization also needs a culture that supports its objectives and the right level of capacity and competency among its workforce. It is vital that the leaders of the organization champion and advocate values which motivate people to work in desirable ways. Ultimately, however, it is the way in which an organization carries out its work that creates shared values and attitudes, which over time are considered the organization's culture. As an example, it is useful to promote a culture of trust and transparency in an organization that encourages its members to raise and escalate issues and facilitates corrective actions before any issues have an impact on customers. Adopting the ITIL guiding principles can be a good starting point for establishing a healthy organizational culture. People, whether customers, employees of suppliers, employees of the service provider, or any other stakeholder in the service relationship, are a key element in this dimension. Attention should be paid not only to the skills and competencies of teams or individual members, but also to management and leadership styles, and to communication and collaboration skills. As practices evolve, people also need to update their skills and competencies. It is becoming increasingly important for people to understand the interfaces between their specializations and roles and those of others in the organization to ensure proper levels of collaboration and coordination. For example, in some areas of IT, such as software development or user support, there is a growing acknowledgement that everyone should have a broad general knowledge of the other areas of the organization, combined with a deep specialization in certain fields. Every person in the organization should have a clear understanding of their contribution towards creating value for the organization, its customers, and other stakeholders. Promoting a focus on value creation is an effective method of breaking down organizational silos. The organizations and people dimension of a service covers roles and responsibilities, formal organizational structures, culture, and required staffing and competencies, all of which are related to the creation, delivery, and improvement of a service. The second dimension of service management is information and technology. As with the other three dimensions, information and technology applies both to service management and to the services being managed. This dimension focuses on the technology that is used to deliver services. It includes the hardware, software, and infrastructure that is used to support services. In the context of a specific IT service, this dimension includes the information created, managed, and used in the course of service provision and consumption, and the technologies that support and enable that service. The specific information and technologies depend on the nature of the services being provided and usually cover all levels of IT architecture, including applications, databases, communication systems, and their integrations. In many areas, IT services use the latest technology developments, such as blockchain, artificial intelligence, and cognitive computing. These services provide a business differentiation potential to early adopters, especially in highly competitive industries. Other technology solutions, such as cloud computing or mobile apps, have become common practice across many industries globally. Another key consideration in this dimension is how information is exchanged between different services and service components. The information architecture of the various services needs to be well understood and continually optimized, taking into account such criteria as the availability, reliability, accessibility, timeliness, accuracy, and relevance of the information provided to users and exchanged between services. The nature of the business will also affect the technology it makes use of. For example, a company that does significant business with government clients may have restrictions on the use of some technologies or have significantly higher security concerns that must be addressed. Other industries, such as finance or life sciences, are also subject to restrictions around their use of technology. For example, they usually cannot use open source and public services when dealing with sensitive data. The third dimension of service management is partners and suppliers. Every organization and every service depend to some extent on services provided by other organizations that are involved in delivering services. It includes the relationships and agreements that are in place with external organizations and individuals. Relationships between organizations may involve various levels of integration and formality. This ranges from formal contracts with clear separation of responsibilities to flexible partnerships where parties share common goals and risks and collaborate to achieve desired outcomes. One method an organization may use to address the partners and suppliers dimension is service integration and management. This involves the use of a specially established integrator to ensure that service relationships are properly coordinated. Service integration and management may be kept within the organization, but can also be delegated to a trusted partner. Factors that may influence an organization's strategy when using suppliers include strategic focus. Some organizations may prefer to focus on their core competency and to outsource non-core supporting functions to third parties. Others may prefer to stay as self-sufficient as possible, retaining full control over all important functions. Corporate culture. Some organizations have a historical preference for one approach over another. Long-standing cultural bias is difficult to change without compelling reasons. Resource scarcity. If a required resource or skill set is in short supply, it may be difficult for the service provider to acquire what is needed without engaging a supplier. Cost concerns. A decision may be influenced by whether the service provider believes that it is more economical to source a particular requirement from a supplier. Subject matter expertise. The service provider may believe that it is less risky to use a supplier that already has expertise in a required area, rather than trying to develop and maintain the subject matter expertise in-house. External constraints. Government regulation or policy, industry codes of conduct, and social, political or legal constraints may impact an organization's supplier strategy. Demand patterns. Customer activity or demand for services may be seasonal or demonstrate high degrees of variability. These patterns may impact the extent to which organizations use external service providers to cope with variable demand. The fourth dimension of service management is value streams and processes. Like the other dimensions, this dimension is applicable to both the SVS in general and to specific products and services. In both contexts, it defines the activities, workflows, controls, and procedures needed to achieve agreed objectives. Most focuses on the processes and procedures that are used to manage services. It includes the incident management, problem management, change management, and service level management processes. The dimension also focuses on what activities the organization undertakes and how they are organized, as well as how the organization ensures that it is enabling value creation for all stakeholders efficiently and effectively. The service value chain operating model is generic, and in practice it can follow different patterns. These patterns within the value chain operation are called value streams. Thank you for watching this video. Please leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel for more upcoming videos.